Yesterday at Cam Newton's weekly press conference, a Panthers beat reporter for the Charlotte Observer asked Newton a question. That single question started a firestorm throughout the NFL and its fans, but it wasn't a provocative question. It was a question about Devin Funchess, who had 2 touchdowns last Sunday against a Patriots defense that last year was one of the best in the league. The reporter asked about Funchess and him embracing more physical route running. So why all the fuss about a simple football question? Here was Cam's answer.
I know you take a lot of pride in seeing your receivers play well. Devin Funchess has seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes and getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck sticking people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like, it's funny.
It's funny to Cam because she's a woman. But this isn't just about Cam Newton. This isn't something that's just now happening. It's not a one-time thing in this business. This kind of stuff happens every day to female reporters just like me. But this time, a high-profile athlete said it to a room full of cameras and journalists. I'm blessed to work in a Jaguars locker room full of considerate players who have never tried to embarrass me or make me feel unwelcome when I'm typically the only female in sight. But that's not the case everywhere, and that doesn't mean it hasn't happened elsewhere. For those saying, get over it, that's just how he is that it? Or is that an overwhelming majority how they still look at the capability of a woman to understand a game? The problem is Cam's assumptions about women in sports are bigger than just him, a lot bigger. The tweets, they don't take too long to find. A host of NFL Network's NFL Total Access show tweeted a photo of the producer team last night. They were all women. One of the top responses said, "Stop being so butthurt. Women don't play football. It's a man's sport. Reporting is a little odd. That will never change, and not a bad thing." These tweets, they go on and on. If you didn't know, there are at least 6 women's football leagues in the United States and even more in other countries. There's a women's team right here in Jacksonville. And just as my father studied and learned to become an engineer, my mother studied to become a teacher, I studied journalism. I started when I was 16 as an intern for the Speed Network. I knew nothing about NASCAR, but I learned. I wanted to be a sports journalist. I am one. And as the only female sports reporter in this market, I know I have to work harder than the guys in order to earn your respect. And I'm okay with doing that. It's what I signed up for. I still study every day. I'm a woman in full. I baked homemade cookies last night while watching film on the Jaguars, and they weren't very good. When my boss called me this morning to ask if I wanted to do a piece on Cam, I was on my way to a CrossFit class. I power lift, but I'm not alone, nor do I think I'm exceptional. There are high-ranking women in the military, curing cancer, traveling to space. There are women balancing 2 jobs and 3 kids all by themselves, and I guarantee you their jobs are a lot harder than mine. You don't laugh at them. You don't question them. You don't tell them they don't belong. I can talk routes, 4-3 defense, and I get paid to do it. But my question is, when will we start seeing people for their value and worth instead of what we assume for them to be?